And we are inflicting colossal losses on the enemy and gradually pushing them out of Burkina Faso. We will win this battle, this war, and we will overcome imperialism, which has activated terrorism in our region, to bring us back to these colonial times, to keep us under their control, to exploit us until the end of time. Africa is waking up, and no one will be able to close the eyes of Africans on our realities.
Ibrahim Traore is a Muslim, right? But he's not bringing religion into this. Right now, we don't have time for religion. Africans, man, must everything be religious, religious, religious? No. Just let us be practical about things. We have an enemy that is on our back, and he needs to be logical and make right decisions for the country. It's not time to be, oh, I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, I'm a this, I'm a that. This has destroyed Africa. This has destroyed Africa. We don't need religion in this.
Hello, brothers and sisters. I really hope you're all doing fine from wherever you're watching me from. Now, the unity of the black community is the biggest threat the Western countries have right now. They are threatened by the unity of black folks in the diaspora and in Africa. They do not want to see a united Africa. They do not want to see a united black community, because that means they will have no power over us. That means it will be the end of exploitation and the end of the control of the motherland. So let's watch this video, then have a real quick discussion at the end of it. Thank you so much.
What we need is good governance. You practice your religion in your house. It's okay. If you want to pray for Ibrahim Traore, if you want to call fire from heaven to earth, if you want to fire thunder them, whatever you want to do, you can do it. It's not a problem. But don't bring it into this, man. When I do my lives, oh my gosh, the religious fanatics. Like I said, we don't have time for this. You do your prayer in your house. We appreciate your prayers. Honestly, we do. But we don't have time to be Bible bashing right now, Quran bashing, or whatever it is that we're doing. Okay? Let's follow Ibrahim's example. He is a religious man. He prays. He's a Muslim. But when it comes to work and duty, when it comes to the job at hand, he leaves it at home and he gets on with it. So why don't we do the same thing?
No one will be able to come and divide us, to impose what they want on us. We have done everything to be here today, to speak to you, but also to come and wish President John Mahama a good change. We wish him a good change because there are many challenges. Many challenges await him. And I hope that you can accompany your brothers here. Pan-Africanism is a rather complex battle, but you, the people, it is quite easy for you to lead this Pan-Africanism well, because the people must love each other, the people must support each other. The problem of Pan-Africanism is very often between us, the leaders, but we will put everything in place so that the leaders can go in the direction of their people, because the people are already integrated. They are Pan-African. If today Ghana decided to bring President John Mahama to the head of the country, it is a strong message. And I wish that you, Burkinabe living in Ghana, you can accompany President John Mahama. The task will be difficult. There will certainly be challenges on the security level, on the economic level. I wish that you can accompany the forces of defense and security in Ghana much as you can, both on the intelligence level and on the economic level, as much as you can. Support them as if you were supporting the Burkinabe armed forces. I am telling you something. The challenges can be very numerous. In no case should you lose hope. You must accompany them and help them on all levels. A nation does not survive as long as it does not.
They should not allow another person to give them a prescription of how Africa should look like or what we need in our Africa, because we know what we need in our Africa.
Comrades, we must never succumb to pressure of America. America has never helped us with anything, even during apartheid. They cannot threaten us now.
Think of the brains that are in the diaspora. Think of the monies in the diaspora. If we can just repatriate those brains, repatriate those monies in an organized way, we don't need anybody. We are actually the only continent on earth that doesn't need the world. The world is Africa. Everybody knows it. There's not a single strategic planning session by any country around the world outside Africa that doesn't start with Africa. Because
people, why is it the pastors, imams, reggae artists, dancehall artists, and Afrobeat artists are not supporting Captain Ibrahim Traore?
We, African heads of state, must stop behaving like puppets that dance every time the imperialists pull the strings. When we, the people, decide to defend ourselves, we are labeled as malicious, but that's not the issue here. The problem is seeing African heads of state who bring nothing to these people who are fighting, but who sing the same tune as the imperialists.
Ibrahim Traore, the young lion, the president of Burkina Faso, has thwarted many attempts to delete him. However, I've been searching online to find out where are the churches and the mosques that are supporting his movement. And to my surprise, I only found about 3 ministers from Ghana and also Nigeria who supported him. So therefore, my question to you, why are Christians and Muslims are so silent on this social and political change that is taking place in Burkina Faso? When you take a look at Burkina Faso, it is the average person, the man in the street, who is actually putting their lives on the line for this movement. Based on my experience, I'm in my 50s. Back in the days, the church and reggae artists like Bob Marley, Dennis Brown, Peter Tosh, all of other. People, let's support Captain Ibrahim Traore because he's doing what most African leaders should have done 50 years ago, because the wealth of Africa is given to Africans so Africans can build a prosperous society.
And if we are cowards, our children will ask us questions. Imagine if in Burkina we refuse to fight and we accept to submit to live in slavery.
People, let's support the great Captain Ibrahim Traore.
Alright, the gold bars in the video are the first since the country assumed control of their gold mines. Check out this clip and let us come back and discuss.
Oh, this brother right here is looking more and more handsome by the day. Okay. Shout out to Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore. These are the results of their first gold production. This is their first few hundred kilograms of gold that they have produced since Ibrahim Traore came into power and took over his mining sectors and started controlling his resources, and has kicked several European mining companies out of the country that have not been benefiting the country. He is truly leading by example and is a rebirth of Thomas Sankara, who was all about utilizing the wealth of the land to benefit the people and the economy, and not, accepting imperialists into the country to exploit the resources. So since Ibrahim Traore, being the youngest president in Africa at the age of 36, has invested in several key sectors like mining, like agriculture, like real estate. We're going to see some major projects coming from him. And they have been really trying to take this brother out. He has over 20 assassination attempts. May the ancestors continue to protect him, because he's truly a force to be reckoned with. I mean, if other African leaders took note and adopted this type of leadership, Africa would be a force to be reckoned with. Okay, so much love to Burkina Faso.
This is what a wise non-tribalistic leader does: care for his country and build wealth for the people of his country. And as much as I'm happy for Ibrahim Traore for showing other African leaders that this can be done and be perfectly executed without the colonizers' influence, I'm fearful that this young leader's determination to liberate his people will make him a target to imperialistic sociopaths that will aim to isolate him from the rest of the continent. But mostly, I'm fearful that leaders like Ibrahim Traore are a threat to the Western elites and their agendas. Hence, they will feel the need to eliminate him. This young man got rid of their oppressors, took control of his country's natural reserves that were exploited by France, by the way, rejected IMF money. He's busy forming a coalition with neighboring countries in Africa to create their own power bloc that is outside of Western influence. That in itself is a threat to the Western interests. Ibrahim Traore will essentially be the one to liberate Africa from the grip of oppression. And trust me, an independent Africa is a threat to the world's first-class economies. In the past, leaders like Traore were eliminated, and I feel like this is where my fear stems from. I am happy that he's making big strides. I am happy that he has countries like China backing him up and obviously funding his economy where they can. And I'm happy that he has Russia by his side. He has Russian influence by his side. And that dynamic trio, yes, that trio in itself is, it's a powerful influence that will be good for the economy of Africa. But I'm just fearful of this imperialistic sociopaths that will aim to isolate Ibrahim Traore. I am, At this point, Africa is being pulled by the horns. Africa is being pulled in different directions. And this reminds me of the Berlin conference. I mean, in the DRC conflict that is happening right now with the whole Rwanda situation, the United States is knee deep in that country. It's knee deep in exploiting the natural resources of that country. Right now in South Africa, the AfriForum is busy lying on international stages that they are being oppressed. And now the American government is stepping in to save them by doing what? By dividing the democratic institutions of this country. So we are being pulled by the horns. Everybody is fighting where they can. And then we have Ibrahim Traore with the Chinese and Russian influence trying to liberate his people and essentially capture the economy of Africa and liberate it and develop it for its own good. And the African leaders, seeing what the young Ibrahim Traore is doing, they're obviously not going to be pleased with this because they felt like they were going to be the first to liberate Africa, but instead they fell into the clutches of being puppets to the West. So we are being put right now. Africa is a race right now. All the elite first class economies are literally pulling Africa apart for their own benefits. And Ibrahim Traore is like, no, not with me. And I'm scared that this will make him a target.
Hello, brothers and sisters. Now, I've always been talking about the unity of the Black community, the unity of the people of Africa and those in the diaspora. There is need for us to start discussing these issues. We do not expect anyone from the other side of the world to start speaking for us. They might want to do so, but the only people who are going to save themselves, it is us. We are going to save ourselves from whatever is happening. And if we are not going to be keen, this is going to get messy. This is why we have seen the uprising leaders in Africa who have the vision of Africa and the diaspora. People like Dr. Arikana, Ibrahim Traore. They want Black folks to unite and they want to bring the Black community together. I know it started long ago when people like Martin Luther King tried and they had the influence to bring Black folks together. But what happened to Martin Luther King? They did cut his life short before he even went ahead to finish whatever he had started. So I do say that until we realize that the systems have been against us, until we start and end the illusions that we have that someone else will come and save us, that's the time we will be out of the colonial mentality. I see a lot of people still living in the illusions that someone else will save us, that the Western is trying to better Africa. Who told you so? Now look at Congo. The crisis in Congo right now, it is being sponsored by the Western powers because they know the unity of the people of Congo will mean the end of exploitation. The unity of the people in Africa will mean the end of the exploitation in Africa. So they will keep on dividing Africa. That's why you have so many bodies in Africa. You have the SADC, you have the ECOWAS, you have the EAC, the East African community. Then you have the Western side and all this other side. They have tried to divide Africa. They started by dividing Africa into countries, right? Creating imaginary borders in Africa and making sure that restrictions were put for someone coming from Burkina Faso going to Ghana, someone coming from Ghana to Nigeria, and all these other countries. These countries were one during when Africa was still not divided. The whole of Africa was one, was a big landmass with people who were united, the people who were talking to each other, and the people who were living in peace and harmony until the British, until the Germans, until all these other, the Spanish and the French came to Africa, the Belgians. Now, what did they do? They went in the Berlin conference. They divided Africa into portions. They continue dividing Africa to date. They divided Africa into 50 nations. No, it was actually 45. Then they have been adding African countries time to time time to time until we have 55 countries in Africa right now. But the question is this was this the dream of our ancestors? Was this the dream of the pioneers of Pan-Africanism in Africa? Was this the dream of every black folk? Now, this was not us. This is them. We are now, the life we are living today is not our life. It is their life. And we have not yet gotten over from it. We still live their life. Now, come to Africa. They divided into countries, later on into regions. Later on, they gave us blocks, the ECOWAS and all this. Then they later on added us to an organization called the Commonwealth, where we must go there and be told whatever we should do in Africa. And if we want ourselves free, if we want ourselves united, we first must scrap ECOWAS. We must scrap the SADC. We must scrap the EAC. All these were meant to bring more division in Africa. That if you accept yourself as you come from Kenya and Tanzania and all these other countries, then you are being divided again. Division after division. Then what have we seen? That this organization, the SADC and the ECOWAS and the EAC of this African continent, do not even talk or associate with each other. What African unity are you building when you don't talk to each other? What African unity are you talking about if we have 54 currencies in Africa right now? And if you need to travel around Africa, you need to have 55 currencies. Now, I've been talking this and there is need for us to continue talking about it. Now, if you go to Europe, you only need a single visa to go to almost 10 countries. But when you come to Africa, you need 55 visas to go around 55 countries in Africa. That even the nearest country to each other, you still need a visa to enter that country. What sort of unity have we been talking about? This is why Ibrahim Traore is saying that we must unite ourselves. And I really checked the countries that are in the AES are actually scrapping visas and all that you can walk and trade freely around the AES countries. This is whatever Africa needs. This is whatever we need. We do not need an African continent where people are divided. We have 55 countries, 55 head of states, and all this other stuff. And even the African Union is a puppet of the Western countries in Africa. That it has never helped or solved any crisis in Africa. You go and look at whatever is happening in Congo. You come and look at whatever has been happening over years when Rwandese and Burundians were fighting. And when countries have been fighting in Africa after being sponsored, all these wars have been sponsored with a target. They do have a target for every war. Now, they cause mayhem. They pretend they're the ones who are solving it, and they pretend they're the ones, the lords of peace and all that stuff. But we say and repeat, enough is enough of that. We want a free Africa. Yes, the Western countries can still come to Africa, but as visitors, as tourists, and as business partners, not as our lords or as those people who we should be worshiping and all that stuff. No, they should, when coming to Africa, they should come and accord Africans with the due respect they need and that they deserve. We've seen a lot of videos in Africa where even the Chinese have started disrespecting Africans. They even slap workers that the government offer them to work with. They even harass, and I even saw there is a nightclub in an African country where the black folks are strippers, and they do that in front of the Chinese and all that stuff. This is This is so messy in Africa right now. We need to unite this continent. We need to unite the diaspora to come back home, and we need to speak the truth, and we need actually to enlighten and bring the civic education to our people. If we are not going to do that, it's as same as nothing, because the majority of the people in Africa do not know the truth. They know the Western countries as the mothers of civilization in Africa and those that brought light to Africa. And we are saying that's not it. Civilizations started taking place in Africa before the white man did know that there is something called fire, that there is something called cooked meat, and all that other stuff. So we say African continent must be respected, black folks must be respected, and we, the black community, should unite ourselves. If we are not going to do that, it's the same as nothing. When we talk without action, it's the same as nothing. You should be passing these messages to your cousins, to your brothers, and to your friends. This is whatever is going to unite us, and this is whatever is going to make this African continent great. Thank you so much for having taken the time to watch this video. I appreciate so much. If it's your first time, consider subscribing. See you in my next episode.